And now
He's here.
Now you decide.
Now he's here.
Now of all times.
Took him a minute to join.
Okay, take it away, kid.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Misfortune Podcast. It's a podcast of many things. One of which being my co-host here, Julius.
Yo.
That guy. We talk about some things.
So, yeah, we're back. We're back.
We are. It seems like it's been, as usual, it seems like it's been so long since the last episode.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. There used to be a point where I was like, man, we're just fucking putting out episodes left and right, man. Like, I almost feel burnt out. But honestly, now I feel like it feels like 5 years in between every time we actually do an episode. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's a good thing or probably more of a good thing than a bad thing, honestly.
Last episode I talked about like X.
Or
something. I'm pretty sure
we talked about Tokyo Babylon, Konosuba season 2 in the
years
movie,
ago.
And we talked about. Y'all don't want to fucking hear us talk about what we fucking talked about last time. So why not just get into the first topic?
Boys, as promised at the end of last episode, we did it. We watched Fate.
We've entered the Type Moon universe, folks.
Yep, we're those guys now. Yeah. So
we are Type Moon fanboys. I didn't know I was included in this. Okay.
Well, okay. So I went all the way back. All right. We went to the origin story of Fate anime, aka
watch the first
Fate Stay
watch
Night
the first few episodes.
2006, baby. All right.
Studio D. We watched the first couple episodes together.
Yep. Yeah.
And the rest separate way. Actually, we watched like 3 more, and then we just went
somewhere in there. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us your feelings on this show first, kid?
Okay. So I watched the entire show, and going into it, I've read like a lot of different reviews because if you're into Fate or if you have been wanting to get into Fate, you know that it's impossible like to have a definitive like timeline, because there's just so many different people telling you like their like how they think you should watch it, and like basically the general consensus is the original Fate Stay Night is not very good and it sucks.
Yeah.
And I definitely see where people are coming from when they say that. I personally am a very big fan of 90s and 2000s anime.
Hello?
Oh, man, Discord just decided to lag at first.
I love
this personally for me, it hit different. And
different.
It wasn't like
in what respect did it hit different?
Well, okay, so this is definitely the most, in my opinion, this is not necessarily like shonen-esque thing, but like, well, maybe shonen-esque thing that I've ever watched. I don't know how like what specific genre you would put this in, but
okay. So wait, so you think do you think that Fate Stay Night is more shonen than like Soul Eater or Noragami?
Never mind, I take that back. but
it's the first you've seen in a while, right?
Right? Yeah, I took like a extended hiatus from watching like the very actiony shows, like I mean Code Geass, like it has its action, but like
every other episode. But it's different.
I
get it. It's different. A lot of people will like. I'll see people like have like lists or like tier lists of like the best shonen ever, and they'll have like fucking Death Note. Well, Death Note counts technically, but like not Death Note. They'll have fucking like Code Geass on there, and I'm like, what are you doing with your
That's
life?
not
Like
shonen.
that is not shonen
I can definitively
whatsoever.
say that Code Geass is not shonen.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and you could probably make the argument that maybe it is kind of shonen because Lelouch has a very ambitious goal and he's a young boy in high school. But it's
yeah,
like, okay, then you can call half of fucking anime fucking shonen, right? Like
yeah,
almost
right.
like half of the anime is fucking set in high school and has some boy that wants to do something. So
I think my biggest issue when I say like I don't like shonen anime is like it's not really I don't like shonen anime. It's just in my mind I don't really think I can get into like like the Dragon Ball, the Naruto type like
I
shonen
can
anime.
definitively say that you could not get into Dragon Ball because the Dragon Ball anime is shit. It consists
Is it?
of characters charging attacks for a long time. If you're watching the original one, Kai is not as bad, but even still, if you're not into fighty shit all the time, then you
Yeah,
would you fucking hate it. Other than filler
yeah,
episodes, I guess, but those are not even like well written because they're literally catch up episodes. So
right.
yeah, I can understand that. And looking as an outsider of the genre, being like, this kind of looks shitty. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
kind of get that, I suppose.
Well, on that note, this is it's not shown. It's definitely not shown in that respect. It's like it
It's not a
has
stereotypical. Well, it is a tropey shonen. However,
right.
it's not like it's a lot more tightly. It's a lot more compact than
It's more
shonen, I guess.
creative.
It's not a. It's whoa. I disagree with that, but
Okay.
it's not long
It's
running, I guess, is what
yeah,
is
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
reasons. It's not long running. It's not like fucking arcs on arcs. It's very much a fucking 24 episodes and that's it kind of show.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of people hate on the original one, and like I said, I do understand why. But honestly, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say. I mean, like, so you stopped watching the show.
I dropped it. I watched about 6 episodes
Yeah,
and I liked the first couple of episodes because I thought they were an interesting setup. As a whole, the Holy Grail War to me is a very interesting concept. I mean, I'm kind of into all that shit, the different fucking class. Like, it honestly kind of makes me want a Fate video game with the way that the Holy Grail War is constructed. You have all your different
yeah,
classes and shit, and there's all different types of magic. I think all that shit is really
yeah.
cool. Um, However,
It's
I guess the ultimate reason for me dropping the original Fate was that it just bored me. That
yeah,
I don't want to come off like I had any other profound reason. I just thought it was kind of boring,
it is.
and it did bring up some of the problems that I would later have with Unlimited Blade Works, but yeah, I just got bored of that show, honestly.
It is for sure. Like compared to Unlimited Blade Works, it is very dry and it is very bland. Um, and it's definitely I don't know. I don't want to say it's a lot slower because Unlimited Blade Works definitely has those stretches of like no fights going on, like a lot of character sort of exposition type thing.
Yeah, but when we
But
talk about that, I want to talk about how I actually appreciated
you
some
can
of the
enjoy it.
some of the breather moments on Unlimited Blade Works as opposed
Yeah.
to the original Fate Stay Night.
Yeah, you can enjoy it a lot more in Unlimited Blade Works than you could.
So there were two
And
reasons why because Hayden pretty much told me that the first half of Fate Stay Night is pretty much identical, or the first half of Unlimited Blade Works is identical to the original one and doesn't deviate
not
very much. Not
I
identical, but
wouldn't
like
I
it
wouldn't say the
follows a lot
first
of the same.
half. I think the first like I don't know because honestly, looking back, like it's it feels like it was forever ago now that I watched the first season of Unlimited Blade Works. But like,
Yeah.
um, I think what like Caster and Caster and Emiya still had like their little battle.
Mhm.
I think like up until around there, like Caster and Emiya fighting like in the forest, it was pretty similar. Um, and then after that, it definitely started to diverge. So okay, I
Okay.
guess I should probably give you like a short little rundown of what happens in the
Yeah.
original. So in the original, basically, what happens is, I mean, the biggest changes are Spoilers for Fate and Unlimited Blade Works, the original Fate and Ufotable Fate. So, also, by the way, I found out that's how you pronounce it. It's Ufotable.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Funny UFO tablers out there.
Yeah,
That's how
but
you say it. Unless you don't give a fuck, whatever.
yeah, UFO table, UFO tuple.
That's fine.
But no, so Elia doesn't die. She lives
Okay.
to the end, and from what I remember, it's Saber who takes down Berserker.
Yeah.
And basically, so Fate starts to turn into or Emiya rather starts to turn into a harem protagonist.
Aiden, I just want to say I can't help but notice a running theme in the shows that you have curated for us
Oh really?
on this show. You have picked a lot of harem shows.
I have. That is not intentional.
Being the most ultimate harem.
That is not
Harem show of
intentional, I
all.
swear.
Okay.
But I have.
All right, I'm just checking. I'm just checking. Okay.
But basically, it's like, from what I remember, Gilgamesh doesn't really play a role like at all.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
pretty sure.
wondering what Gilgamesh, if he was even in it very much. What
I'm
was he?
pretty sure him and Saber have a fight. I think. Yeah, I'd like towards the end. Gilgamesh is chilling with Kotamine most of the time.
Yeah, and Kotamine,
So,
you said he has a he doesn't like in Unlimited Blade Works. Like he just shows back up and he dies in the same episode. Does he play
yeah,
like a much bigger role in the original one?
not much really. So basically, Gilgamesh doesn't have a master. When
Okay.
when Shinji is defeated, like, or rather, Castor's defeated, Elia kills Shinji. Like straight up murders him. Like
I
in
don't know
the
if I like
school, like
that idea more or his Akira torture. I'm not sure which one I
yeah,
prefer, honestly.
he just straight up dies. And so no, but Elia kills him, and then so yeah, Gilgamesh doesn't have a master, and so
Yeah.
basically, Gilgamesh and Kotamine are sort of working together, but Kotamine mostly fills in the role of Gilgamesh.
Mhm.
Or I guess rather, Gilgamesh fills in the role of Kotamine in Unlimited Blade Works, but so Kotamine is like he needs to summon the Grail because he wants it. And actually, from what I remember, yeah, the original Fate for sure has spoilers for Fate Zero, so I won't tell you that.
Okay.
But basically, it's like he wants the Grail for purposes unknown that I will not reveal here. But
Whoa.
in order to get it, like he has to have a sacrifice similar to in Unlimited Blade Works, whereas as opposed to it being Shinji for Gilgamesh, in the original it is Elia for Kotamine.
Okay.
And yeah, so Kotamine essentially he steals Elia from what's his name? Emiya's house because she lives there now. And then he tries to turn her into the Grail, and then all the boys come in and they stop him.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean it's like it's nothing incredible,
Yeah,
honestly.
right.
Like I mean, I gave it like an 8 out of 10,
8,
but
yeah.
that's on the basis of the way that I score is like a 7 out of 10 is average.
Mhm.
So this was like entertainment wise, this was like a little more entertaining than like an average show, I guess.
Yeah,
In
okay.
my eyes.
Get it.
In comparison to Unlimited Blade Works, this is nothing.
Okay,
mean,
so I guess then we can get into Unlimited Blade Works.
yeah.
And one of the reasons I also ditched the original show, which I mean, honestly, the Studio Dean did not do a terrible job with the animation. I think there's definitely
Yeah.
like in the opening, I thought the fight scene was pretty well animated.
I mean, in terms of a 2006 anime, it's for sure.
Yeah,
It has some good.
it's not the
It
worst.
has some good animation.
No, so then you have UFO Table. Now, UFO Table is it's It is a studio that, to me, has a track record so far, even though I've only seen one of their anime, or some of one of their anime, which is Demon Slayer. It has a track record in my head of being very much a lot of style, but not a whole lot of substance. I dropped Demon Slayer after the first 5 episodes because it had extremely strange pacing to me, and I don't know. I didn't like it. And but the
Yeah.
one thing about Ufotable that I think they do amazingly is the fucking presentation, man. The That was one of the reasons that I was compelled to watch Unlimited Blade Works over the Dean one. Was just this is a beautiful show. Like
Oh, it looks insane.
the animation is really fucking nice. that's
Yeah.
that's that's what I describe it as. Including the action. So the action is like really well done.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
it's
it's
kind of
it's
what pushed
insane.
me. It's what pushed me to rate the first season of 6 because I didn't love the story, and there were a few standout episodes. But I mean, the work that was put into the animation, it just it compelled me to give it that 6 that I
Yeah.
otherwise probably would have given a lower rating. But yeah, I
It for
love
sure
the
looks
animation
great.
and action in this fucking show, man. It's great.
Yeah, it looks crazy. I think that like I mean, obviously, so this show um has a lot more CGI if you look into it than you think.
Yeah, a
There's a
lot.
lot of
Yeah,
like special effect, like particle effects and that sort of thing. And most of the time, at least from what I've seen, I haven't really seen that done like super well. But in
yeah.
this, it's incredible. Like,
I think the only time the CGI kind of throws me off is with Castor's little minions,
yeah,
but otherwise,
that's,
yeah. That's the thing about Ufotable's action is not only do they have like a pretty damn good idea of like how to capture speed and like they use all the right. A lot of it is like using flashiness to their advantage. Like there's a lot of effects in the action, and even in Demon Slayer, there's a shit ton of effects that go into the whole thing, and that's what kind of makes it. That's kind of puts it over the top for me. Is like all the different visual effects that are on screen, and yet the action is still there's still a fair degree of clarity to it because that's one of the things that I value in action is clarity and being able to tell what's going on. And I think
yeah.
Ufotable did a very good job on that part.
I think, well, I guess the best example of like CGI and Unlimited Blade Works is Saber's sword, which I get like thinking about it, the amount of work that had to go into like animating. It's essentially like smoke, like coming
Yeah,
off of her sword, except the sword isn't actually there, and it's literally just the smoke. So like the amount of effort that must have gone into animating like the smoke and like her moving around her sword and the movement of
yeah.
it must have been like a lot.
It must, yeah,
Um,
and it looks really good. I never was like that doesn't look like something that should be in
yeah,
this show.
no, it looks great for
Yeah, it
sure.
looks really good.
I think so. Story wise, I guess
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of
So
people
so
are.
pass the
Yeah,
presentation.
so a lot of people are like, you have to judge it based off of the visual novel. In my opinion, I'm watching the anime and I'm not playing the visual novel.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
don't really understand like if anyone's saying that like that's like that just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
yeah,
Like why do I have to evaluate it based on some sort of outside piece of media? Like why
right.
is that required for me to have a frame of reference? I just I don't understand that. I haven't been given a good reason as to why that would be the case.
Yeah, but in terms of story, so okay, I guess I should say this up front. Julius and I think that this is a lot better than Julius does. Not
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
think
So,
it's bad
we
at
both
all.
no, I do not think either I think the first season is okay, and I think the second season is good, and it might be really good. I don't want to say too much, but we both gave it
Yeah,
different ratings on Mal. Hayden gave the
very
first
different
season a
writings.
9, I gave it a 6, and he gave the second season a 10, and I gave it a 7. Uh, So we can just discuss our feelings on the general
Yeah,
story and characters now to kind of elaborate, I suppose.
I guess. So let me justify the 10. I have to defend my standpoint. Um,
Well, all
I
right,
think.
continue.
Well, I think so. In my opinion, I was telling you the other night. It's for me. It's I think character development comes first. And
Yeah,
I definitely value it a lot more than like plot, which to some people, that might sound really dumb, but for me,
everybody has
it's
different
like,
priorities in
yeah,
fiction, for sure.
yeah, and I think that it's very important that you get the characters right, and it's okay if the plot isn't, anything too insane. Um, and in this show, I think the characters are I think the characters are very well done. And I guess the prime example of that is, again, spoilers.
Uh,
The prime example of that is the relationship between Emiya and Archer, where Archer literally is Emiya.
yeah.
Like he is a future version of Emiya. And I think that plot twist, for me personally, I didn't see it coming. You were sort of iffy on it.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, I mean, he's doing a lot of the same shit.
Yeah.
The visuals in the opening and the second opening, were kind of interesting. But I was just like, okay, but why is he brown? And they never really gave a reason why he was brown. Caden had a
I
theory,
mean,
but
I
I didn't know for sure. But you know,
I looked it up and it said like it's because of like years and years and years of magic use. I feel
yeah,
like it's
okay,
kind of
that's
bullshit,
fine.
but like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
whatever.
That's
I
fine.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
they don't really need a reason. Like it's
Yeah, no, no, no.
not big of a deal.
I mean, that's all of fiction is coming up with reasons for why things happen in universe. It doesn't necessarily have
Right.
to make sense in real life.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, that was the one thing where I was like, why is he brown? If that's the case.
yeah. My original theory was because they had shown like a lot of clips of him like in the Middle East or what seemed to be the Middle East. I thought it might just be because like he literally like got really dark just because he was out there. Um,
Yeah, sure.
who knows? Again, it doesn't really matter that much. But um no, but their relationship is it's really well done because so in the original Fate, that's not brought up at all. It's just Archer hates Shiro, just like for no
Oh,
reason.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh
I
yeah.
probably
No, like it's just they hate each other. And the reason why Emiya hates Archer back is because Archer's just like an asshole to him in the first place.
yeah,
Like Archer's just like, I don't like you and I don't like your ideals and I don't like Ren talking to you. And then Emiya's like, man, you don't have to be so mean to me, but you are. So I'm obligated to not like you.
yeah.
And
The
that's about as far as that
reciprocation
goes.
of
Um,
disrespect.
right. And maybe my experience from having watched the original has affected like how I view that relationship. But
Yeah,
I think it's really well done in that like Archer hates himself so much that he just wants to like end it all, and this is the only way he knows how to do it, and he's so desperate for it. Um, and I think, in my opinion, I love that relationship. And at first, I was kind of iffy on it. The first time I watched it, I was like, man, that I don't know how much I like Archer, literally being Emiya. But when I watched it with you, I think I was definitely able to appreciate it a lot more. And it's like,
yeah.
it feels like this very long journey, and like he's been waiting so long to be able to do this.
Like that's the
Um,
case for a lot of twists in media, where it's like the first time you watch it, you're like, "Wait, what the fuck?
yeah,
What is that?" And the
for
second time you
sure.
watch it, it's like you look at everything, you look at all of the clues that they laid out, and you're like, "Okay, that kind of," and you get further context, and so you kind of feel like it was a little more justified. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Uh, okay, so you had that. Were there other what other like displays of character development did you really appreciate from the show,
Um,
or like character writing?
so this one has been pretty undervalued now that I actually think about it. So with Reen, she's a main character, but looking back on it, it feels like she's kind of absent. from the story like a lot of the time.
Yeah, for
But I mean,
sure.
just like looking into it, it seems like her relationship with like a lot of the characters, where Emiya obviously is like Emiya is like he's alone, and like at the end, obviously the first season ended on a cliffhanger, and I actually love how the first season ended, where it's like
Yeah.
Emiya is all alone, but also season 2 starts and it's immediately like, oh, Reen's also alone now. Like Archer just
Right. Yeah.
literally abandoned her.
Yeah.
And even though she's with Emiya, it seems like she's in a really desperate
Right, and it contributes to
position.
Emiya's the whole theme of Emiya's character and like helping
Yeah.
others despite not having a fantastic reason, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also that is reflected in Emiya, him literally, him just it seems like he's on his own a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, it seems like a lot of these characters are just like they're being put in extremely dire situations. Um and they don't they they're like in dire straits and they don't really know like how it's all going to play out.
Yeah, and
And they're just
that's when that's when true character is revealed, is whenever you're put
oh yeah, for
under
sure.
any sort of pressure. Um so okay, yeah. So that was your general feelings on the whole thing. Was there anything else that really stood out to you before I start?
Um Not particularly. I think uh Gilgamesh being the main villain, it was fine,
Mm,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
have like any much to say about that. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a decent main villain. I guess he's going to be there for Zero, so we'll talk more about him
Yep.
later.
Yeah,
But
maybe he'll get a second chance.
yeah, but no, I think it overall it's in my eyes it's a really solid show, and it works very well.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you gave it a 10, I gave it a 7. But I mean honestly on rewatch, uh, if I could rewatch it, I would probably like it more. I don't really see myself liking it any less than I could.
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah, again, the story is, it's kind of just there. Honestly, it's this big event where people fucking go to places, and like Castor does a lot of shit, and a lot of events happen at certain key places, and it's fine. It didn't blow my, the plot didn't exactly blow my mind. The characters, so I really like uh Emiya as a character. I didn't love him so much in the first season just because he talked a lot about his ideals, but it makes sense in the end.
Yeah.
Uh, but I really like he definitely had a sort of consistent and just very solid character the entire way through. I his ideals made sense. Why he had them made sense, and I was rooting for him by the end. By the final battle. So I think he's a very good protagonist. Um, that's one thing I like about this show. Kind of is like for most of it, him and Reen are like severely underpowered in this entire situation.
Oh
Like
yeah, for
they
sure.
can't compete with the servants until they eventually do. Uh, but yeah, I liked that aspect, and that kind of I mean it annoyed me that he was so underpowered, but like that's kind of how it's meant to be. Like, oh man, if only he could kick their ass,
Right. Like he
and
can't really do anything in this
yeah,
situation.
another and it again plays into the theme of like I'm gonna help them even if I fucking die, some of that shit. And yeah, one of my characters that one of my favorite characters was in season one was Archer, who I just thought was a really cool guy who was other than when he bullied Emmy, I didn't like that.
He was an
Who
asshole.
was like when he was like he's like very strong in his ideals as well, which are kind of an inverse of Emiya's. And well, I just because I thought their relationship was very interesting in the first season. It was obviously for different reasons. By the second season, it was like recontextualized, but with the twist. But I really like their dynamic in episode, I think it was 8, where they both fought against Castor, and they kind of had this banter, which was fun. But then then he fucking stabs him, and I was just like, oh shit, Archer is not someone to fuck around with. And I think that was another good thing the story did pretty well, was like I felt fucking pissed too when everyone called him a rookie mage and shit, like, because we're being introduced to this world as Emiya is. He's our vehicle through this whole thing, so I kind of got pissed along with him because he gets a lot of trash talk like throughout the show. And that episode, I just really like their dynamic and shit. Now, this character may have been one of the primary reasons I did not like season 1 so much, because she did this shit so much. I fucking hated Rena in the first season, dude. Oh my god. I thought it was okay where it was established with her, like, she has a past as a mage, and she was getting ready for the Holy Grail War, and she was set on winning. However, I really hate the tsundere shit. And you could argue she's like a light tsundere, but it's like, why even have her be a tsundere at all? Because it just doesn't. I hate it. You know what? I just fucking hate it at this point. It's personal preference. It's not even any sort of logical thing at this point. I personally hate it. But I do understand why now that she's a tsundere, because apparently the original Fate visual novel was pretty raunchy, to say the least. And so you got to have your different archetypes of women, as those kind of games usually do. So I understand, I guess, from a marketing standpoint, why they put a tsundere in there. But I hate that shit at this point. I can't stand it. The only example I like is Asuka, and that's literally because they subverted it.
Right.
But yeah, I hated her in the first season, and then I just felt really weird about her warming up to Emiya near the end of the first season. It felt very unnatural to me. But I was like, fine, if you're gonna go that direction, go that direction. Then in season 2, it like kind of fucking whiplashes, and she's like, ugh, it's not like I like you or anything. It's like, dude, fucking come on, dude. We've come this far in their character journeys. Why are we stopping now? And it's for the meme. Yeah, I understand it. It's for the meme. But I did not like that. But
yeah.
To the show's credit, Reen did kind of come around by the end, and I did end up liking her as a character because she didn't exhibit any of those unlikable traits anymore.
Yeah.
I
think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that and I might as well bring up Saber, because she's kind of the one of the main characters, even though she like doesn't play a huge role. Than literally fucking finishing off the big ass Akira monster thing. But and being in several fights, of course. I found her character to be very boring. I thought she was extremely boring, and it makes sense for her to just be like, actually no, her being a servant is not an excuse, I don't think, because, and again, maybe her behavior will be recontextualized once I watch Zero, but I don't think her being a servant is a good excuse for her being a literal like blank slate. Like I did not sense any sort of personality from her, and I found her to be very boring. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Well, a big thing that I have with that is that, so what I found out was, apparently in the original Fate visual novel, because for those of you who don't know, Fate is based off of a visual novel, Fate Stay Night, from like 2004, like 2000,
yeah, long time ago,
3 or something. It's pretty old, but apparently the reason why is because, so there are 3 routes in Fate, and so there's the original Fate there's Unlimited Blade Works, and there's Heaven's Feel. And all three of them, I guess, have officially finally been adapted with the last Heaven's Feel movie coming out, like literally this August or something. But apparently each route, it focuses on one of the main girls, like one of the main heroines. And so I didn't know that, and I sort of figured that out on my own because I was so confused. Like, I watched the original Fate, and in that, the roles of Reen and Saber are essentially flipped, where Reen, she doesn't really do much, and she's just sort of there as a character, but just to be there, right? Like, she plays the same role, but the biggest change is the fact that in the original Fate, Shiro has a thing for Saber, and not Reen.
Right,
Which,
because the original game, I mean, you told me there's several like fucking sex scenes. So I think the whole point of that game was, apart from, the world, which that could have been created along with the purposes of selling it as a kind of not a dating simulate, like a quasi kind of dating game, because like if
yeah, it's
different routes have different girls, then like yeah, it's kind of like a dating game at that point. Other than all the other shit that happens, but yeah, I can understand that, yeah, for sure.
yeah, but I mean, that's one thing that I did like, is just that, like, in my opinion, I just personally like Reen as a character a lot more than Saber.
Yeah,
And that's just me. That's just personal bias, but not necessarily, you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um,
I get it.
and so, having watched Fate, in my opinion, that was that was really refreshing. Like, to have, like, Emiya want to go out with Reen instead of Saber, and, like,
Yeah,
obviously the tsundere thing is very, very common, I guess, and anime. And I guess,
yeah, it's a stereotype, yeah.
yeah, I guess it's just because, like, that's the favorite character. You have, like, Asuka and Kurisu and that sort of thing, and, like, everyone loves those
Yeah,
characters,
it's a formula.
me included. You know, I've
Ew.
I have fallen victim to to several. Um, but I do for sure understand how people don't like it, and I definitely do. Like, I have my limits when it comes to, like, it's like, yeah, the character is, like, shy, and she pretends not to like everybody, and she tends to be an asshole, but, like, it's not actually like that, right? But
A
I
soft gooey center.
yeah, I feel like there are
Ooh.
definitely limits that should be placed on that, because
Legally, I believe there should be limits placed
yeah,
on that.
like,
That
there
there should not be a certain amount of tsundere tendencies expressed in
should be a point
characters.
system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
with Reen, you can definitely tell it is. I don't want to say it's, like, forced, but it does happen in very placed situations, I guess,
I
is the
think it
best way
is
to describe
forced
it.
by the second season.
By the second season, yeah, like, it's a little bit, and, like, for me personally, like, that's okay, just because in the original game, it's like, it's forced in and of itself that Emiya has a thing for one of the three girls. And I mean, I don't know about Heaven's Feel because
Oh,
we haven't covered
I
that.
don't have a problem with Emiya having feelings for Reen. I have a problem with the constant tsundere shit. That's the only thing I care about.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
Emiya ends up with any of that's fine. Like I even by the end, I kind of bought into their relationship. I thought they had a pretty good thing going, but yeah, it's the tsundere shit for me.
yeah. And I understand that, like, for sure. There, Cinder isn't for everyone. And even if you do like it, like me, it's definitely, it has its drawbacks for sure.
Yeah,
But um, and in regards to, like, Emiya and Reen, like, and their relationship, um, it was just so nice to see that, as opposed to the what I can say was definitively forced Emiya and Saber relationship
Oh
in the original
god.
Fate.
And then you
And
have him with Sakura, which sounds like the most generic pairing ever.
that apparently that happens in Heaven's Feel.
Maybe it'll be
You
good.
know,
Who knows? Maybe it'll be
who
good.
knows? But
Uh,
no, in the original Fate, that if you've watched it, you know calls for that calls for some interesting situations.
okay, so on the topic of Saber, as I was discussing before we did all this underage shit. So how was Saber in the original series? Would you say?
Well, for one, she wasn't gone for 50% of it.
Yeah, she wasn't
Um,
a damsel in distress.
so like, and the thing is, honestly, I don't mind them doing that in Unlimited Blade Works, but don't market her as the poster character if you are
Right?
going to
Yeah,
do
I
that.
agree.
Like
I agree.
it's Reen. Like after watching that, we all know it's Reen.
Yeah.
So just make it Reen.
Although
Like
to be fair, Ufotable had made Fate Zero before, so maybe
true.
they just wanted to put a spotlight a little more on Reen,
Yeah.
Archer, and Amiya. But still, I mean, Saber's Amiya's fucking servant. Like, come
Yeah.
on, at least give her a little more shit to do, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I think
Hello?
a lot
We
more
lost your
than in
voice.
this, and I can understand,
Oh,
why
you cut
like
out. You cut out, by the way.
in this, but Saber is there a lot more,
Oh,
and because of that,
oh shit.
what's that?
Oh, sorry. You just kept cutting out. Sorry.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you just kept cutting out, was what I was trying to say.
oh, Discord's being wacky today, like every other
Fun
day.
Discord,
It's
crazy,
ever,
noisy, bizarre Discord,
of
boys.
course,
Yeah, yeah. Fucking cut
yes,
out in the middle of a conversation. Fuck off. Fuck
it's
you, Craig.
awful.
Actually, no, don't fuck you. You're yeah,
But no, Craig is cool.
yeah, he's
But
fine.
no, so in the original, Saber being there definitely calls for some interesting relationships. Mainly the fact that Emiya has a thing for Saber, but Saber doesn't have a thing for Emiya, and it's
Oh,
weird. Like, yeah, no,
oh,
it's weird because you can't tell. Like, it's implied at the end of the original Fate that like Saber does have a thing for him, but at first
okay.
she doesn't. And there's this really weird scene where it's like Emiya finds out that Saber essentially wants to go back to her time as King Arthur and like
Yeah,
redo it so that she doesn't become King Arthur because like she similar to Archer like she sort of hates herself in that role and she just doesn't want that to happen because she thinks that she like brought her country like to ruin. So
yeah.
her wish should they get the Holy Grail is essentially like hey don't make me King Archer just like let me live a normal life.
Okay.
um and when Emiya finds out about that, he does like everything in his power to prevent her from leaving. Um, in like a weird attached boyfriend way. And
Yeah.
there's this one really awkward scene where he like he doesn't like rape her, but like they're standing like in his house and he like tries to kiss her and she's like no please don't you're gonna make it harder on both of us and then he does and Saber's like why how could you do that and she's just visit like
She wasn't. She didn't even do the shitty thing they do in media. Where it's like, no, don't do this, and then they kind of like lean into it a little more.
yeah
She was literally
no
like, why the fuck did you do that?
she just didn't want to do it and it wasn't
Oh
in
my
like the
god.
typical Saber like like the servant like hard like no emotion way it was just
Yeah.
in the this girl doesn't want to kiss you way and it was just such a hard scene to watch it was like what's happening
Yeah,
why where did this pull that
Emiya has some weird moments when it comes to
yeah
girls. Like in Unlimited
and I mean
in the second season when Lancer shows up and he's like, "Yeah, stay away from my girl."
stay away
It's
from
like,
Reen
bro,
don't
y'all
talk to
aren't
her
even together yet. What the fuck?
yeah and I mean like Emiya and Unlimited Blade Works is for sure superior to the original Emiya, because original Emiya is just like he's just weird. He's a rapist. Yeah, let's be honest here. But no, he's just a really weird main character. Whereas like in Unlimited Blade Works, like he has emotion and he has like actual character, like tendencies of a character. And
not voiced by Donatello.
Right. I forgot about that. But no, like it's, I guess going back to the original question, like what Saber is like. She, I don't want to say she's better than Saber and Unlimited Blade Works just because she's there more. Yeah. Like that doesn't make her better. She definitely has like some better qualities just naturally with her being there more. I think she is she is more expanded upon.
Okay.
In the way that in the same way that Reen is in Unlimited Blade Works and isn't in the original. So she sort of, in terms of character development, it switches off between Saber and Reen, and the original and Unlimited Blade Works.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on who you like more.
Right.
Like, you know, I think that it's for sure done well or better in Unlimited Blade Works than the original, just because the original it definitely feels dated.
Okay. Yeah.
Not that it's like particularly bad, but yeah, I think she's there more, and therefore she's just naturally like more of a main character than she is in Unlimited Blade Works. Not that she isn't there, but she definitely has more screen time.
Okay, and this on that same topic.
No, I mean she's good, I think, in both. And Unlimited Blade Works, which I do actually want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to talk about as it pertains to Unlimited Blade Works, but even even in the original too, you can talk about that. I wanted to talk about each of the servants, possibly their masters as well.
Okay, yeah.
So we can start with obviously Reen and Archer. Archer, okay, and we can talk about them in terms of their personality, their backstory, their abilities. I think Archer is, in terms of abilities, Archer has some fucking cool ass abilities, man. He's like, that was the highlight of that that first Berserker fight for me, was when he's fucking shooting arrows and they're fucking coming down from the sky. Like, that was crazy.
So that scene actually, that's not in
the original.
Yeah, Archer, from what I remember in the original, just is absent from that scene.
Yeah, and I remember being very pleasantly surprised and liking what they did and expanding that fight. Although, I mean, that was probably just different in the visual novel as well. Yeah. But I liked how they expanded way more on it. Because, like, literally, I remember I did watch the first Berserker fight from the original series. And that shit was literally just like, Saber went to fight him, and then Emiya did, and he died. And
and then
that's the fight. That's the fight.
Right. No, so I think like Archer, I mean Archer is, you know, the most expanded upon. It's strange because again, Saber is the poster girl, but Archer is still the most expanded upon servant in both.
Yeah, right.
Maybe not in the original, but
okay.
You know, they're not far off. But
yeah, I obviously I think Archer's backstory is awesome. You know, he's literally Emiya, but I just thought like he's very much like kind of an anti-hero, you know, and that he's like his ideals have just been utterly like burned destroyed. Out.
Yeah.
And as a result, he almost goes to the other extreme, even though he acts like he's acting very rationally. He's going to the other extreme, the logical, basically the logical opposite of Emiya's ideals.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, as a character, he's very interesting. Obviously, like you said, a great backstory. In terms of like him as a servant, he, you know, like like his moveset is sick. Like, you know.
Oh,
And I feel
absolutely.
like
The two blades are sick. All the archer shit is sick.
yeah. I think him like I don't know if you remember, he had like the big shield.
Yeah,
I
that
feel like
too.
that was just sort of there just it was just added like out of nowhere. So that was kind of weird that he had that, but like, you know,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's not
Yeah,
that big of a
sure.
deal. Um but no, like I think the idea of him like, you know, he's in the archer class and
Yeah.
him being able to like land a shot from like
From
across the
all that,
city.
yeah, that entire distance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really
Well,
cool. And yeah, no, I think as a character, you know, obviously he's like the signature badass at the show. And
yeah.
I think from what I've heard, he's a lot of people's favorites. And I you know, I get that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, he's a cool guy and I like
And
him.
we talked about Emiya. Uh, so next we have Lancer,
Yes.
my boy Lancer, a sleeper
Yes.
character. Because I mean, come after the fight with Archer and after he kills Emiya, does he ever show up in season 1 again?
No.
I don't think he
I don't
does.
and that's the same thing. No, actually. So in the original Fate, he's there at the beginning with that fight and then gone, and then at the very ending he comes back at the reveal that him and Kotamine are together. And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he gets killed by Archer or Saber.
yeah.
Like right like in the same like episode. But in this, oh boy, in this. So in the
Yeah,
first
oh boy.
season, you know, gone.
Yeah,
Um
and I think he's obviously very cool. He's got all of his lance abilities. He's got Gaybolg,
A Bulge.
which is
God.
you know what? Honestly, go off, Lancer. You are our fate gay icon. So you know what? Honestly, yeah,
Oh, he has
just
a thing for
keep,
Rain.
keep doing your bi icon. Fine, whatever.
There we go. That's
Gay
the correct
bulge
one.
because he's got the gay bulge, but he's also got the Reen bulge. So it's a little bit of both. Dipping his lance in both
Yeah.
pools. You know. But yeah, he's very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, like, in the second season, like, so naturally with you know, my having watched the original Fate, I thought that they were gonna pull the same thing where he was gonna be gone, you know, for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But him coming back at first, like, I really just loved the idea of him like helping Reen and Emiya, and I figured it wasn't gonna last
Oh
that
yeah.
long. But then he was like,
I love that trope. The bad guy, good guy alliance. I love that shit.
yeah. And then it turns out like he actually becomes like not necessarily a main character in those arcs, but like he plays a role.
Plays a pretty big role, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the idea of him, number one, his fight scenes are insane. Like,
oh yeah,
he's crazy.
yeah. That's when I started watching Unlimited Blade Works and I saw his first scene with Archer. I was like, oh shit, yeah, the action in this is
Yeah,
insane.
like that's the first fight scene that you have, and then
Yeah.
also like the idea of him, you know, like he has his own ideals and whatever, but like that's not
Yeah.
necessarily expanded upon. But like his refusal to kill Reen to the point where he's forced to kill himself.
Yeah.
You know, that was crazy. And then I literally found myself like cheering. Like I went crazy when he came back and he stabbed Konamine. Like I was literally
Yeah.
cheering for him like in my bedroom.
Right.
Like watching that scene because I love the fact that like he you know, he went from being a villain to like literally being like one of the good guys.
Yeah.
And
And
he joined the
I think
boys.
I don't know how I feel about Lancer disappearing for a long time and then popping back up. I kind of like it. I kind of don't
Yeah.
like it.
I have mixed
But
feelings about it.
at the end of the day, I liked him, so I honestly probably
It works.
think it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that he's very charismatic, you know, and I also think that he does. Yeah, he plays a key role in the story for the time that he has appeared. For the time he appeared.
Right.
So I really like him. His master, Kotomine, I mean, He's
He
okay.
he's
I
the main
guess.
villain of the first Fate, the original.
Yeah.
He's fine in that.
He
He's fine
definitely
in
seemed
this.
like a bad guy type. I was like suspecting. I was like, all right, this guy's going on my suspect list of villains.
Yeah, and this one it was sort of like he would have became the main villain, except he just
Yeah.
died. So like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Exactly. He
He's
came
not
through with
there.
unpleasant vibes. Well, in the first season, he was effectively a exposition machine, and
Yeah,
then he fucking died. Well, no, actually, he had a few cryptic conversations with Gilgamesh, and then he fucking died. Well, quote
yeah.
unquote, died. So yeah, he's okay. He had like a big bad guy plan in the second season. I don't even
I mean,
remember
he's
what it was
whatever.
exactly. Yeah, it was fine.
I
He
guess
was.
he'll be in Zero again. So
Yeah, I mean, I had to struggle to think of who Lancer's master was for a second, which I don't know
yeah,
if that's my fault or the writer's fault, but at the end of
yeah.
the day, forgettable.
Um, do you have Ryder
Right. Speaking of forgettable,
there, there and gone?
yeah,
Um,
she's cool for the time that she's there,
at
but
least in the original one, she took Shinji out with him.
yeah,
But uh, whatever, I guess. Fine.
yeah, and then Shinji
Oh,
works. He works. He's a piece of shit through and through. Like I don't know why I was honestly expecting him to be more than a one-dimensional character. He's literally just a fucking walking piece of shit.
but like I
But
feel
I
he's
think
he's
I think
one of
it
the
works. I think it works for the overall theme because by the end, Reen is like, okay, I gotta fucking save him.
he's
I have
yeah
to
he's
I have to follow Emiya's example.
he's one of the villains in the sense of he's like the school bully where like you hate
Yeah,
him but you don't hate him enough that you're gonna let him die and you're gonna
yeah,
save
exactly.
him. And then he's
Um,
gonna turn like good at the end.
yeah.
Whatever.
And well, yeah, in that in that last scene, he's in the fucking hospital, and Sakura's like, "Eat, motherfucker," and he's like, "Okay, I'll eat food."
Okay, I'll do this, Sakura.
Yeah.
You and if
So
you insist.
I was like, maybe he's not the worst person. Maybe he just needs to
Yeah.
be guided down the right path, the right route. If we're talking about
Yes.
fate.
Yeah. But
So yeah, he was pretty
he's
cool. He
fun.
worked. He worked. Well, not cool
Um
actually, not cool at all. But
so what do you think about Caster?
Castor. Okay, I honestly at first Castor was fucking boring. I did not care for her. She was generic, like, oh ho ho, this is my plan, and I'm going to break the rules because I have a weapon called Rule
Rule
Breaker,
breaker.
which is it's the most plot devicey thing ever. But
Whatever.
it's
It's literally they they acknowledge the fact that it's
yeah,
a plot
yeah, they're
device.
self aware about it. So
They
they
call it rule
call it.
breaker.
Yes, I guess it's kind of fine in that
Yeah.
case. But yeah, she was just kind of boring. Like, oh ho ho, this is my match. I'm gonna put all these people into comas and
Yeah.
chill at this temple. But then actually, when I found out about her wish, I was like, oh shit, you actually are kind of a multi-layered character. Like she has this whole thing about her where she like doesn't fucking understand the mages of today. She's basically a fucking the mage boomer, and she's
Yes.
like, you guys don't know how fucking magic back in the day, man. Back in the fucking day, it was crazy. But
Yeah.
and I also liked the final kind of touch with her character, where her wish was to go back to those days, which just made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end, I like Caster. Yeah, I liked her, and I thought her magic shit was cool. So yeah, I liked her.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Caster.
Hot take.
And
She's one of the most adored characters in all of anime, Caden. How could you say that?
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I mean she's just I feel like that is my biggest issue with Fate if I had to define one is it has
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
time on Caster.
well, not necessarily a lot of time a caster, but it doesn't have a, a super well defined main villain. Like, you have Gilgamesh, but if you think about it, he's sort of just looming in the background until like the very end.
Yeah, and yeah,
And
we'll get to Gilgamesh, but yeah, I think it's appropriate that there's kind of multiple opponents
yeah,
because
and
it's a,
it
it's a,
makes
it's a
sense.
war. It's a war.
I just
But I think
I don't
yeah, definitely a lot less time could have been spent on her and more on Gilgamesh for sure.
I don't want it to I think it was riding the line on becoming like a tournament archetype where it's like, all right, we defeated this guy, who's the next guy? And in the original Fate, like, they crossed that line. Like they sort of did that. But in this, like it wasn't like a super big deal, but they could have done that a little bit better in my eyes. And I mean, like the caster arc, if you can even call it that, it was fine. And I mean,
it's kind of split up into chunks, to be honest. Like she kind of just appears and reappears, whereas Gilgamesh, it's like once Gilgamesh, actually no, his is kind of split up too, I guess.
I mean, he looms in the background.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a war. Different conflicts are going to happen with different people at different times. So
I guess looking back on it now, it's done fine, And each main villain, I think, Berserker is like the main villain a little bit, and then there's Caster and Gilgamesh, and I think Caster, she's given the most amount of time, but also that's just because it gets the most amount of like plot development.
I think I also kind of think she's interesting. I talked about how she's a mage boomer, but I also think it's interesting because it kind of gives us it's kind of a bit of world building with her. She kind of gives us a view of what it used to be like apparently magecraft has kind of fallen off in terms of like it's devolved over time because people don't use it as much, and so I thought that was kind of an interesting window into the past, and I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty interesting piece of world building. So that was another reason I kind of thought she was interesting.
Yeah, but no, I mean, overall, I don't know if there's anything else like you particularly wanted to talk about.
With Caster?
I mean, in the show overall. I mean.
Oh, well, we still have a couple of.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Masters. Then you have Suzuki, who he has a very bland design, but I definitely, that's obviously intentional because he's supposed to be like kind of an unassuming, unassuming teacher. You never suspect me as a master. But I thought his character by the end was really cool. Like, yeah, he's this unassuming teacher who fucking practiced martial arts and shit. And like the fact that he was on par with Saber, I was like, holy shit.
I'm gonna be honest. Crazy. I forgot he existed for a second. No, but
maybe
he is. He is super cool.
Maybe it's my bias towards martial arts shit. But yeah, I liked him. I will probably forget about. He will not probably be one of the characters that comes to the top of my mind when I think about the show. But I liked him, and
he is really cool.
He faced off against Archer, and he got fucking murdered.
So. Oh my god, dude, that scene is okay. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
So, looking at it like from a I haven't watched this perspective, you wouldn't expect this show to be as violent as it is.
It is like extreme, and we will get to some of the darker shit with Ilya here in a minute, bro.
Like,
holy shit!
There are people getting stabbed and their hearts ripped out, and like
it's beautiful.
Like it's brutal. But
you wouldn't expect it. Yeah, like the show isn't uber violent before. Like, yeah, I mean, Emiya gets stabbed in the heart, but I mean, it's
they go insane.
A little bit of blood comes out,
But yeah, like seeing Kuzuki get like one-shotted by Archer.
Yeah, fucking eviscerated.
Like no music, just impaled immediately. Like no fight was put up.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of those moments where like, damn, he's so honorable.
Damn, that was
damn.
Crazy. Yeah,
I'm gonna forget about you in a few days.
Damn, you're dead and gone now.
Okay, so then you have fucking Berserker. Who's he really. He has no personality. His personality is that he has no personality. He is a killing machine. Yeah.
At least he talked in the original.
He talked?
He doesn't. He talks when he dies.
Oh.
And it's.
What does he say? Does he do like an Iron Giant kind of thing? He's like, I wish that I could have felt emotions, or like a Terminator 2 thing. You don't even remember.
It was like a. You defeated me. You were a good enemy.
That's fucking bullshit.
And it was Charles's voice actor from Code Geass. And so it was like, oh yeah, he talks and he has this recognizable voice. That's weird. Whatever, I guess.
Well, I think that only applies to people like you who can identify the voice like
True.
that.
Yeah, I can immediately do it.
So
I'm the
yeah,
dub
I mean,
master.
he was cool, I guess, because he was really strong, really fast, and can really die. But I mean, he's just
He
kind
has
of a
12
generic killing
lives. That's
machine.
him.
Um,
That's his quirk. He has
hey,
12
then you
lives.
have his fucking master. Holy shit. Ilya's backstory. I was not
It's
expecting that shit. It's
dark.
like we're on
Yeah.
like episode 2, 3, and we're already pulling it. Like, holy! I was not expecting the amount of trauma that she went through. Now, I will say, I don't really understand. She didn't really come off like a child for me, in those backstory scenes where she's like asking all these questions like, why am I alive if I cannot feel
Yeah.
if I cannot be happy or some shit like that's like, okay, that's kind of bullshit, but it's whatever. Her backstory extremely fucking dark, and apparently it has to do with it ties into Fate Zero. So I was kind of interested
Yeah.
in
I'm not
that
gonna look too
aspect.
deep into that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess basically speaking only in terms of what they reveal in Unlimited Blade Works, well, I guess that's only what we know.
Yeah.
So Kitsugu Emiya, aka Shiro Emiya, his father is also apparently the father of Elia, which it's I cut out again.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah, so it's Kitsugu is also Elia's dad, which I didn't see that one coming, like ever.
Yeah.
That was strange.
I accidentally saw. I recognized the image because I turned on Fate Zero foolishly one day. I was like, "Oh well, Fate. Everyone says Fate Zero is the best, and it's a prequel, so why can't I watch it first?" So I turned it on, and it was fucking Kiritsugu just watching. I presume his wife going through labor and a
yeah, I
baby is
guess their
born.
main
I'm like,
characters.
what the fuck is going on? And I turned it
Yeah,
off because
I
I was
guess
like,
their main
okay,
characters in Zero.
yeah. So I just saw that, and then I saw the image and I recognized it, and god damn, the shit with the mom too is dark. What the fuck? And she's like all
Yeah,
alone in this castle, and I'm like,
I'm
holy
not
shit.
100% sure what that is about. Like, her
I
mom
don't know
is
either. Yeah,
like black tar heroin.
yeah.
Like,
Joker. I've overdosed on
who
black tar
knows?
heroin. I think I'm going to die.
Put
I'll play
that
that.
in.
Yeah, put
Play
that
that
in,
clip.
boys. Play the clip. Play the audio clip of Morgana dying.
We're gonna die because he doesn't play. But no, I mean, like, it's dark. It's a dark
Dark.
backstory, and it works in the theme of like,
Yeah. Her
Elia and
entire.
Berserker are connected on like a level that you didn't know about before.
Yeah, and her story is consistently dark, from her
Yeah,
birth to her death,
yeah,
by
she dies.
Gilgamesh's fucking hands. Like,
Gilgamesh rips her heart out, and it has
bro,
crystals in it.
yeah.
Well, I guess so. I didn't understand that the first time.
Well,
It's like,
no,
why does she have?
he blinds her first, right?
Oh, yeah. So he
Adds
like
extra pain to the
he
death.
slashes her eyes out with a sword, and
Yeah,
then he impales her. And like the way that he does it too, and the way that it's shown is like it's off screen, and like you can just barely see the movement of his arm, and
yeah.
he doesn't stab or anything. He just sticks the sword into her.
And it really, yeah. It sticks. It kind of brings to the forefront of your mind, like, he just fucking murdered a child, like, because
Yeah,
it doesn't take that much effort at that point to stab a child. Like, that was just fucking disturbing. Like,
like she's
holy
supposed to
shit.
be 18, but come on now.
I mean, yeah, I think she's like kind of, she's very childlike. So
Yeah, she's the lolly.
Also, I don't want to admit that she's 18, so lollies can't fucking give me an excuse. Well,
Right.
lollicons can't give me an excuse. Oh, she's fucking 18. I can do
She's
it.
18. I can
I
do it.
can do it.
It's true. That's not true in
Yeah,
this
it's like,
situation.
I hear Discord,
Um,
mom.
but no, yeah. So I mean, incredibly dark backstory,
Yeah.
good character, and then she's dead.
And so that of course brings us to the final servant, which is Gilgamesh, the villain. Basically,
Forgot about him.
the villain. I mean, he's kind of the ultimate villain by the end. You know,
Yeah,
there's several villains.
it's sort of
He's
like
the ultimate villain.
it's sort of like in the sense of like, okay, everyone's gone. Oh wait, here's this guy.
Yeah. So to
Like
start,
he's
his
the final
ability,
boss.
I think his ability is very cool, where he just fucking basically has swords coming out of portals and shit. And
Yeah.
I think I really like the reason for his power, and I really like the reason for his in terms of his backstory. Like he only uses fucking weapons that are apparently the genuine article of things, which is kind of the uh, contrast to Amiya's whole ideology, which he believes is sort of a like a fake. Like basically, y'all are fucking copying my style, and I don't appreciate it. I'm the root of all this shit. He was a very good contrast to Amiya's ideology. That wasn't Archer's ideology. Um, so yeah, I liked all that. But I mean, as a villain, he was meh. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't
I
really
mean,
a
like,
threat to me, or he didn't really feel like a threat at the end of the day. At the end of the day,
right. I mean, like, I
um,
think it was really interesting because they sort of introduced like these powered like the tiers of like how powerful the villain is, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, well, do you think you could take on this person with your skills, or do
yeah,
I need to,
exactly,
or whatever? And
yeah,
I think it's really interesting because you don't consider the fact like, oh, Gilgamesh is like the super incredible like big boss, and he has all these noble phantasms, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't know how to wield a sword, you can kill him pretty easily.
exactly. You both have different kind of quote unquote skills. You know,
Right.
there's no like one way to do things. Like, and that's repeated throughout the series. They're like a real mage would never do that. Fucking Emiya, you're fucking stupid. Why did you do it that way? And it kind of culminates, and it's like in this amazing final battle. I will admit, I don't love Gilgamesh as a villain, but the final battle is fucking awesome,
Oh, it's
where
crazy. Yeah.
he uses all of his skills that he's learned throughout the story, and it's a great climax. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think, yeah, I like Gilgamesh like as a character. Obviously, you
Yeah,
always have like the villain with their signature catchphrase and him calling people mongrels and
mongrels and
fakers. Yeah,
fakers.
I love that.
I will be playing a clip of Sonic saying "faker" from Sonic Adventure 2.
Does he say
So
that?
yeah, he calls Shadow a faker. It's like, you're a faker, and they fight
That sounds like a Sonic line. But
in the
no,
city.
yeah. I like him. I like Gilgamesh. Like
Yeah,
he's nothing like too crazy, but at the same time, like he's not like undervalued in any way.
yeah, and yeah. Again, he'll get a second chance in Zero to like maybe they'll
Yeah, then
flesh
he's the
maybe.
main villain,
Yeah,
apparently.
and it may be a Saber situation where it's like, okay, maybe he's a little more fleshed out in Zero, so they didn't want to necessarily pay as much attention to him, or it could literally just be because of the route that we're in, that he was
Right.
kind of portrayed for this amount of time. Yeah, so then we have his master Shinji, which oh wait, never mind. Okay, so that's all the
Hey.
servants and masters, baby.
Yeah. I mean, so one thing I for sure wanted to address, and like you can't not address this, is just like
Yeah,
the fact that the action in this show is incredible. It's like the fight scenes are insane. Like
yeah.
they're the best fight scenes that I like. I know you probably watch more uh shows that probably have more fight scenes than I do, I would say.
Yeah. I'd say this show has some of the best animated action, in its own kind of way. The emotional impact wasn't the same for me because like that's what really makes a fight for me is
Right.
the great visuals and the fucking emotional impact. Even though, to be fair, Shiro and Archer's final fight and Shiro and Gilgamesh's final fight did have that sort of hype factor to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably could name a few that I think impacted me a little more. But yeah, no, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I think that these are probably like the best fight scenes I've ever seen. Honestly, like
Yeah,
they're insane, and like animation style, it seems like they have a lot of emotion put into it, and
yeah,
like most of all, they're just really fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly. And a fight scene isn't a fight scene. Well, depending on what kind of fight scene you're looking at, a fight scene isn't amazing without context. And with context, the fight scenes in this show, or near the end, mostly are fucking phenomenal. So that is one
Oh
thing
yeah,
I'll definitely compliment the show on.
yeah. But no, I mean, solid.
Also, oh yeah, the ending of the show is
Oh
pretty
yeah.
pretty fucking sad. When
So
Archer fucking vanishes, that shit. It was
it's
sad. It
like
was
I think
it was emotional.
Archer as a character in for me personally, I went from I was kind of iffy on him at first, and then I
Yeah,
hated him when he like switched sides, and I was like, man, I
right.
knew I was right. And then he came back for like a second when he killed Castor, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then I
Oh,
hated
no,
him again,
I forgot. Yeah,
and then he came back, and he turned out to be like one of my favorite characters. Like I loved him,
yeah. And when
and
he finishes off, I just remember when he finishes off Gilgamesh. Yeah, that shit was
that was
cool.
so cool when
That
he
shit was
snipes
cool.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, I feel like now that I'm talking about it, I fucking sound more hyped for Fate than I do with how I've rated it.
Yeah,
You know what? It could be up to a rewatch for me to see its true
I
value.
what I might do is I might rewatch it after Zero.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, but
Um,
no, this
oh yeah, yeah. What really got me with Archer was when he's fucking standing out there and the fucking sun is rising and his hair turns into
he
Shiro's
has
hair
the
and I'm like,
Shiro hair.
oh fuck
Yeah, I was like,
no, Archer.
damn, they had to do it.
Yeah,
They had
oh,
to do
that
it.
shit was great. Yeah, that was a great ending. And then the epilogue was pretty neat.
Okay, the epilogue.
Yeah,
So I most anime, most shows, like no, I mean not most shows, most anime. When it comes to the ending of the show, they don't really have an epilogue. They have like a, okay, we're gonna wrap it up now for the last like 5 or 10 minutes, at least in terms of what I've seen. This show has an epilogue, and it's great. It's
yeah,
good, and I
it is
love
good.
it.
I like it because it opens us up to a little more of the world. So it's like sequel,
Yeah,
and I watched Shiro and Rian and their relationship, and I was like, this is good. I like
they're
this. This
dating
is the
now.
first
They're
time I really like their relationship as a whole, and yeah, I thought it was good too. I think it was a well deserved epilogue for sure.
yeah, no, and I love like most of the time I do not like time skips.
Yeah,
Just because I feel like it sort of leaves me feeling empty. Uh, but
because you feel like you missed a lot.
yeah, I
Okay.
feel like there was a lot missed and there's a lot that could be expanded upon. But in this case, it was awesome. And
Yeah,
I really like just like the way that it definitely wraps everything up, and honestly, it has a beautiful ending.
it
And I
really
love
does. Yeah,
I love that shot of London and like the extended shot of like the sun setting,
yeah.
it becoming night. What wink wink.
That was a really good. That was yeah. It was a really long shot, and I liked that. Yeah. Also, yeah. Fate, stay night. Huh.
Yeah, it's a funny thing.
uh,
But no, it's
but yeah. I may have talked myself into
I
rating the
knew it.
show an A
There it
at
is. I
this
was
point.
waiting for it.
Honestly, I think I may have talked myself into that. Again, it will come down to a rewatch for me to
Yeah.
truly believe that. But like, yeah, sitting here like thinking about it, like it was actually a pretty decent show. Now that I think about it, and maybe it's because I did not love season one, and so it was like I dampened my expectations a little bit. But yeah, maybe it is a great show. Maybe it is.
Yeah. It's I it's definitely it's moving,
Yeah.
I
No,
guess.
I agree, and I didn't think it would be at first, but it was by the end. Yeah,
Yeah, no. And I think it's great, honestly. And
I
it
really like
serves
the
its
show.
purpose and does it well. Good job. So
It's not like I like you or anything. Fate, Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works.
all right. Julius has turned into a Cinderer.
Yay!
Yay! What we've all been waiting for.
That's basically part one
Part one of
of
the
our fate talks.
Yes.
And I do have high hopes for Zero. Everyone says it's basically the best Fate thing, and
We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that.
Everyone knows that
expectations
Hayden
are a
grades
bit,
harsh.
so yeah, that was the Fate talk. It went pretty well.
We'll be talking about the Heaven's Feel movies as well as Zero.
Yeah, which I might actually watch those now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah.
Yeah, and in my case, maybe Apocrypha. I don't know yet. We're gonna have to see.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say you have to watch it, but I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to figure it out.
Recommend it to me. We could see how it all goes down.
I can't wait until I start playing Fate Grand Order and I review it on the podcast.
Yeah, the mobile game. Let's go.
The
Probably
gacha
get it on
game
Steam
grind.
actually now that I think about it.
Maybe, I don't know.
They have some gacha games on Steam. They have
Do
they have Bleach Brave Souls, and I think I saw Black Clover one. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a Fate if they had Fate Grand Order on there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess moving on from our big Fate stand. What?
I said we still have more.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's still more.
Yes.
So now we have Promare.
Yes.
Promare, the first of two movies that we have watched. Well, Caden watched the second one and I did not, but yeah, we watched Promare, and by God, I love this movie more every time I watch it. It's by Studio Trigger, and it's awesome. Give me your thoughts on it first. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so it was very unique. So firefighting as a whole, when I think about that conceptually, it doesn't sound very appealing.
Right.
You know, and I think the only firefighting things that I had heard of were, in terms of like anime, were this and
Fire Force.
Fire Force, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into that, I'm like, you know, how good can it be? But I've yet again underestimated Trigger. Because, you know,
yeah, you forgot that it was firefighting, but Trigger.
Yeah, so they make it crazy.
Firefighting definitely sounds like it's not that exciting as an action thing. Like, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't I would never be qualified to be a fucking firefighter. That shit's fucking. Yeah. I applaud anyone who becomes a firefighter, but yeah, it just seems like a very like linear thing. Like you go in, you hose down the fire, and that's that. Like, but no, Trigger has to do some extra shit.
Yeah, so it's like giant mecha robot fighting, but the thing that hooks me on it is it's really not a firefighting show.
Nope.
Or movie. It's like, you know, it's like the corrupt mayor it's a classic example of the villain has the right motives, but he doesn't know the correct way to do it.
Yeah, because like, I mean, obviously saving everybody from this fucking disaster that's gonna happen is fine, but like,
you don't kill everyone to do it.
Yeah, you will sacrifice burnish lives to save everybody, though, you know.
Right.
And it's yeah, and here's the thing about this movie: it's firefighting, but by the end, they're fighting fire with fire.
Fire, yeah. I love Leo Faudia. I think everyone does. He is awesome.
Awesome. And he's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch in the dub.
And that was perfect.
Which is a plus.
That was the perfect casting.
It was a really good cast. Yeah.
And I love the fact that he goes from like you think that he's going to be like the villain, and then he turns into one of the protagonists, and he's like this badass, like,
yeah,
kind of edgy almost guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of understandable with all the shit that he's gone through.
Right. I love the vibe that he gives off.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then you have the protagonist Gallo, who gives off probably the exact opposite vibe.
He is true chaotic.
He is, and I love him. I love him for it. Like he just says shit that doesn't make sense, and he just does crazy ass shit. So
yeah, no, he's awesome.
This movie, oh my god, I originally watched this in theaters, and that was an amazing experience.
Well, I'm sure.
And I rewatched it, and holy shit, someone just fucking blew something up. Holy, what the fuck? On real life in Minecraft, like literally in a video game. This movie, God, this everything from the music to the characters to
the music was great.
Stories. I mean, the story.
It's good.
I could take or leave it. It's good. It's good. The animation, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I mean, it's Trigger.
It's amazing. There's just a very distinct thing about this movie. I don't know why, but this shit had me smiling. Like, for the first 10 minutes, for the climax, like, fucking...
It's a ride.
Amazing. And it even has a bit of depth to it, I think, that you wouldn't expect. You know, the politics of oppression that the Burnish go through, and how Gallo's kind of like this like passive... Not passive. He's kind of like this observer from the outside. He's basically privileged. If you're not a Burnish, you're privileged. And it's this... Gallo's like, why don't you all just stop burning shit? And Leo's like, because of socioeconomic reasons. No, he doesn't say that, but like that's basically it's kind of like an allegory for, you know, just oppressed groups of today, and how the history of their oppression has affected them. And the ending, to me, where I couldn't figure it out until now, but like when they're fucking punching the earth with both Gallo and Leo's combined kind of powers, I was like, okay, how can I interpret this? How can I interpret this? And from a sort of deeper, maybe more political lens. I was like, because the rest of the movie, I mean, it has some allegorical elements to it, but then you have this shit where it's just like, okay, this is so fucking dumb that I can't even view this through any sort of lens. But then I was like, okay, maybe it's just sort of a commentary on fucking hear me out. I know it's a robot punching the earth, but it kind of just makes me it makes me think like of how Gallo and Leo sort of by the end represent this progressivism, this idea of kind of moving forward into the future together, as opposed to leaving people behind, like Craig Forsyth kind of does. And it's just like this synthesis of different people's lives and cultures, and finally being able to just fucking let it burn, you know. That I mean, that's what I got from the ending. I don't know if it sounds fucking insane, but I love this movie. It's just phenomenal.
No, I think it's great.
I love this shit.
Solid. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. No, it's good. Yeah.
All right, okay. But then you watched another film.
So I watched Redline. If you're a fan of Critical, you might have seen the poster that he has on his wall in the background.
Yeah, maybe you before you began watching anime, you were like, oh, what is that up on the wall?
But no, so Redline is it's a fever dream. It's, you know, I mean, so I forget who made Redline. Let me look this up real quick. But no, Redline is essentially, the plot of it is there's this race that is held every 5 years. Okay, so Madhouse made it. It's there's this race that's held every 5 years called Redline. And it's very prestigious and it's hard to get into. And it's, you know, it takes place in like the future. And it's essentially this insane race where there's like minimal amount of rules and just first across the finish line wins. And it's this main character named JP who got into it by default, like by accident. I think like he was put in because one of the racers who ranked above him like refused to enter, and so he's in this race, and it's essentially been his dream to join. It's very straightforward, and it almost feels like a Trigger show, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's very straightforward. It's just this guy really wants to win, and he's gonna win. And basically the thing with him is that like in Redline, a lot of people will use guns in their cars or have crazy modifications, but he refuses to put any guns on his cars. So he's driving around in this like old like Pontiac, while everyone else is like they're in these super futuristic space cars. And all the meanwhile, there's this girl named Sonoshi McLaren, which is very clearly a reference to McLaren, the car brand.
Yeah.
Who they knew each other in the past, but she doesn't really remember him. And so they sort of have like a romantic relationship going on, and it's crazy. But basically, I mean,
that's all I've heard about it.
you watch the show, for the animation. I mean, let's be honest here.
I've heard it's heavily stylized and like fucking wild.
It is insane, the anime. Apparently, it took 7 years for this movie to be made.
That makes sense.
And it is the most insane thing I have ever seen.
I may have to watch it just for that spectacle. If you're saying it's fucking insane, then yeah.
Like the animation style is unlike anything I've ever seen. The plot is great. The action is great. Like even like the characters are great. It's very gritty, and it's very like, okay, they're gonna give this a rated R rating, so say whatever you want, do whatever you want.
Show some tits for no reason.
They do that at one point in the movie.
Tits for the R rating.
Yes. But no, it's crazy. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it other than the fact that if you enjoy racing, or you just enjoy good looking stuff, or really if you just enjoy anime, I think you can get behind this. Like honestly, this is it's good. It's solid. It's a good show.
Okay. That sounds good.
Might I add, the ending theme is a banger. It goes hard.
Redline Day.
Redline Day. I added that to my playlist.
On Spotify, so accessible to all you folk.
But yes,
I believe that concludes our anime talk.
I believe so.
Well, not really, because we're talking about another semi-anime.
Yes.
Anime video game?
We have been on the Persona 5 grind.
It's fucking awesome. I love this game.
Yeah, so basically I don't own a PlayStation. So I play the game when I'm over at Julius's house.
Yeah.
But I have gotten like 45 hours in now.
Yeah.
I think. Like maybe a little under that.
Yeah. You started playing a while ago too, yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite game of all time.
It's fucking it's awesome.
It's amazing. Like I don't want to spend like a super long time talking about it, but
yeah, I have some things to say about it.
No, okay. No, yeah, you go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I just really like it's not my favorite game ever, because there's really one game that I feel like fucking I experienced. It was an experience and a really fun game. Dark Souls 3. I love that shit. But Persona 5 is also definitely up there because it has sort of two modes of play, and that's the kind of more RPG battle, turn-based battle kind of element in the palaces, and then there's and Mementos too, and then there's the kind of more slice of life shit. And I value both so much because the slice of life shit is awesome because despite the fact that that little cat fucker Morgana tells you to go to sleep,
forces you to fucking go to sleep every fucking night.
And I think
don't want to go to sleep.
in-game excuse is like, well, you got to be a good student. You gotta fucking go to sleep. And it's like, no, fuck you. Let me
I want
work
to buy another gun. I want to buy
on my
another gun.
workshop for 12 hours, please. But no, yeah. But I did kind of realize the value in that it restricts your time. This is a game with time restrictions, and you have to do this by this point. You have to, on a small scale, it's like you have to return this DVD to this place in like a week, and you have to remember that, or you actually have to pay money. Even though, I mean, to be honest, money isn't too tight in this game.
Yeah, you get money,
but you have
quick.
to remember that, or you have to remember we have this many days until the current villain we're facing like fucking does some really bad shit. You have to beat the palace by then. And I just really like the time restrictions it places on you. And I really like another element I really like is the fact that when you are in either of these playstyles, just before either one of them can become super bland and repetitive, it pulls you back into the other one, and you miss that play style you were just immersed in, whether it's fighting or slice of life. And I love that shit, and I love the characters. I'm a person that doesn't usually like or really love games with story because I kind of like to just play games and zone out and listen to something else, like a podcast or music while I'm playing a game. Which is why Dark Souls is perfect for me because you literally just fucking kill things and move through a map, and or yeah, something as brainless as like I don't know, fucking Minecraft, like I'm playing right now. A Persona, yeah, you have to actually pay attention to the story. And there's been a few games where I was really gripped by the story and the characters, like Final Fantasy 15. I really like that, all the characters in that story, and I genuinely felt like I had a really pretty good emotional experience with that game. And I feel like I am, and I will continue to have that same kind of experience with this game because all of the characters are really fucking cool, and a few of them are really fucking hot. So that's another reason, and you can date them. So that's pretty fun too.
True.
Koto in particular, maybe Futaba when I meet her. We'll see how things go.
We can go our separate routes if need be.
Yeah. And there's definitely a formula to the story so far, but I like it because it's running more efficiently each time. Like first time you do it, you're still exploring what a palace is, and so it takes like fucking I want to guess like 4 to 5 runs.
It takes a while
to even finish the first palace, which makes sense. It's a semi-tutorial. Then you have the second palace, which takes like 3 runs, and the last one, which also takes 3 runs, but as opposed to the previous run where the new character that's introduced had to awaken their persona in the second run, Makoto literally just like, okay, I got the persona, let's fucking go. Because I'm always very interested to see what each of the characters' personas are, because as Yusuke would say, this is my other self. So it's kind of interesting to see how they project that. But yeah, I really like I love Persona 5. Persona 5 is awesome, and I might even consider getting the 4th one on Steam. It might be a
Yes, I'm also debating that. But
because I've heard a lot of people say that for Persona 4 is fucking awesome too. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed up everything I was gonna say. It's a really solid game, and the gameplay is obviously like I mean, I haven't honestly. Maybe it's my favorite game because I haven't really played any story games. Like, I think the games that I have the most playtime on are probably like CS:GO and Forza.
Yeah, which are very depersonalized.
Yeah, those are just play for forever games. But like, still, I mean, like, you have to admit, Persona has some really good gameplay. It has a solid story.
Yeah.
It has very good characters.
I love it.
And it's just it's addicting. Like there's a reason why I can play it for like 10 hours and
really
not get tired of it. Yeah.
Fun.
No, it's incredible, and that's not even Royal. I don't know how much better Royal is. Apparently,
and Royal adds a lot more content too. So.
Yeah, so I'll just have to see.
And there's gonna be Scramble, so the Persona 5 shit isn't even stopping. They're going ahead with
still coming
the
out.
Persona 5 shit's popping, so they're gonna keep on probably putting that shit out.
Yeah,
Unless
like
they want to do Persona 6, which would also be cool.
yeah, but no, I'm hooked. I really
Yeah.
love the game, and I'll have
There you
to.
go. There's our every fucking 5 episodes or some shit fucking video game talk, boys.
Yep, there it is. But yeah, I mean, we covered. I think we covered all the bases.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking
So, moral of the story: watch Fate, play Persona.
yeah.
That's
Oh, okay. And I was thinking of maybe talking about one more or
oh,
a couple things. Not for too long. Just some
okay, yeah.
uh just some random shit.
Some
I
speed
just
runs.
want to talk about some movies that I watched because
Oh.
I've been watching quite a few movies recently. Live action ones though, 3D, not 2D.
Yes. We don't do anime here, guys.
But also not. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna call this segment Julius's grown up media corner. That's not for
Yes.
children. They're not cartoons. This is the real, genuine media.
Any Chinese cartoons?
Yeah, none of that. None of them. Yeah. So I here's some shit that I watched this month. Okay, I watched. Well, just earlier, I watched Daddy's Home 2.
Splendid.
because
Just insane.
because my mother turned it on the TV, and I was like, I might as well watch it because what the fuck else do I have on a Sunday night? Okay, and it was okay. Some of the shit was super contrived, and some of it was not funny, but it was a nice little Christmas
It was Daddy's Home too.
flick. It was Daddy's Home too, basically. I watched this really fucking weird movie by A24 last night, called Under the Skin.
Oh.
And it stars Scarlett Johansson. And it's just the weirdest fucking movie ever. It's definitely not for everybody. It's a lot of like really long shots and not a lot of dialogue at all. But it's not even something I feel like I can rate. Like that movie is just fucking wild. And Scarlett Johansson's naked in it, so for your
Oh, looks like I'll be
consideration.
watching that. That's on the list.
Then I watched Friday, Ice Cube classic. And it was good. I mean, the plot was kind of like weird. It didn't really start for a little while, but I kind of like that floaty aspect of it, where it's like we're not really doing anything for 30 minutes, but yeah, it's just another Friday, so it makes sense. I watched 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, which are very funny.
Oh, my name Jeff.
My name Jeff. Let's fucking
my
go.
name Jeff here.
my name Jeff gang. Can you pull up?
I'm Jeff. Boys, rise up.
Yeah, both are very funny movies though, and I would recommend both of them. I like the first one a little more than the second one, but yeah, a lot of laughs. And yeah, then I watched this really weird fucking miniseries called The Undoing. It's got Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant in it, and honestly, don't watch that fucking show. First like 2 episodes are decent. It's like a decent like murder mystery. By the end, it's literally it's like they literally put the red herring as the murderer by the end. And it's like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not watching this shit. This shit's garbage. Okay, it's garbage, straight garbage. And I watched some martial arts movies, one of which being Ip Man, starring Donnie Yen, who you may know from Rogue One. From Rogue movie. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. There's some great fight scenes in there, and I think it's like the first Chinese movie I've ever watched. So yeah, I would recommend that movie. That movie's very good. And the final film, Raid. Holy shit! If you fucking like action movies, watch that shit. Please don't watch it dubbed though. Please try to find a way to watch it subbed, because the English dub is fucking horrible. That was the only version I could access, but yeah, that shit was awful. I hated it.
Is it Korean?
It's Indonesian.
Okay, yeah.
And that's the first Indonesian movie I've ever watched. So you get some fucking some checkpoints there. So yeah, that was all for Julius's grown ass people media corner,
Yes.
the grown ass people media corner, which consists of movies like Daddy's Home 2. So
I watched Okja and Inglorious Bastards.
yeah, what'd you think
Solid.
of Aksha?
Okja? I mean, it's Bong Joon-ho.
Another Gyllenhaal flick that Caden has seen.
Yes, add him to the Gyllenhaal list. It's Bong Joon-ho, so it's great. It's good.
Oh yeah,
It's weird, but it's good.
it's weird, but it's good.
And then, what? Inglourious Bastards. It's Quentin Tarantino, so it's.
Oh yeah, I mean that's probably on the lower end for me in terms of Tarantino movies. I think it goes on a little long, and that works for some scenes, like the whole scene where they're playing charades. All that was pretty fucking cool, and obviously the climax is awesome, and there's several great performances in it. Obviously, Hans Landa is a fucking amazing villain. Christoph Waltz gives an amazing performance, and Brad Pitt is funny. So
it's just bingo.
Yeah, as usual in Quentin's films. It's fucking what does he speak, like fucking Italian or some shit by the end? He has a fucking like
he speaks awful Italian. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
that movie's great though. Yeah,
good movies all around. Good shows.
Decided to join the grown-ups and stop watching cartoons. He's watching
none of these cartoons. Okay, I don't do that anymore.
Real people movies.
I'm a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now. That is the end of the show. That's the end.
Thank you guys for
Thanks for listening again. This was a fun episode to record. I felt real engaged in this conversation.
This is probably when the song is playing.
If I came off a little more excited this time, it's because I'm liking this. I want to be passionate on this show because I love being passionate, and that's the reason we make this podcast, because we're passionate about this shit and we like talking about it. So
true that.
Yeah, true dat. But on that note,
thank you for listening.
See you folks next month with
not next
Fate
week.
Zero.
Yep.
Fate Zero, boys, for our January episode.
The Fate grind. Yep. See you guys next year.
After that, who knows?
Happy holidays, everyone. Hope you have a good one.
Oh, fuck! I forgot about something.
Oh my god.
We should totally do like
a Christmas rap album.
Yeah, totally. We might do a I don't know if you agree with this, but if we did like a top, like our top favorite anime and like different categories, like top favorite anime openings or some shit for like the year that we've seen.
Would you want to do that in a separate video? Or do you want to do it here? Yeah.
That might not be a bad idea. You guys will find out in your feed. So
now the song is playing.
That said,
thank you guys for listening, and peace out.
Peace out.
See you guys later.
Yeah.